Omar Ahmed, IFL TV, MTK Global in Leeds. It's Josh Warren Fight Night. I'm joined by Sonny Edwards. Just seen your mate Lyndon Arthur in a. You had it quite wide, did you say? But I thought.
No, I didn't have it wide.
Oh, you didn't have it wide?
No.
Judges had it wide.
Lyndon's one of my closest friends, and obviously I haven't spoke to him yet, but it was a very close fight for me. I feel like he was getting outworked at times when he didn't need to, sitting in the pocket. But I think that was a great learning fight for him. Great, because when he started believing in himself, you could see the gulf in class. You know, that 11th and 12th rounds are brilliant boxing. Yeah. The 12th round especially, and he could have been doing that all night. Because I know how good Lyndon is. And he's a very special fighter. He's a very, very good fighter. But it was just like in the amateurs, sometimes he starts a bit shaky. He doesn't believe in himself 100% when he needs to. Because he is genuinely that good. And he can show he hurt the kid. And then he just needs to get back on what was working to hurt him, you know. Sort of setting up the shots, letting the kid lead off, making him miss, and then just putting the shots there. And the kid would have knocked himself out for me. But very tough, very hard. The kid could hit hard as well.
Lyndon was getting tagged quite a lot as well.
Yeah, I think, do you know what, with Lyndon, I think when he was getting hurt, he wanted to show that he weren't hurt. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's something you've got to learn, you know. You've got to learn that early on. And that's a great stage for him. You know, he picked up his first title. You know, I don't think no one's going to be kicking off and saying, oh, it was a robbery or anything, but I genuinely thought it was a close fight. And I think that knockdown, for me, swayed it towards Lyndon's side. And him staying up when potentially I would have taken a knee, I think, in the 8th or 9th round, when he was in a bit of trouble. But that, for me, on my card, would have, you know, levelled it up maybe. So, yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing for him, honestly. Ecstatic. I was shouting the whole way through. My voice box is already going. You know, me and Lyndon go way back, you know, last 4 or 5 years been really, really close. You know, outside of boxing, way outside of boxing, you know. But I'm buzzing for him. I know he'll be disappointed in the performance, because I feel like, obviously, I don't know from experience, but when you keep rolling out people in the first round, 15 pretty much fights in a row with a couple of like four rounders and that, you get used to the habit of, you know, just sort of putting people away. So that 12 rounds here will do them the world of good, because you know, when you're used to putting people away and then they're taking them big shots and they're still there, you got to go to the drawing board then. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, like I said, I've never been, you know, putting everyone to sleep. So I've always had to work on my craft. Do you know what I mean? I've always had to. So when you're up against it, that's when you can really show it. And I think the last 3 rounds, he showed it, man. He showed how better he was than that fighter. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just glad he got the win. Hard fight, like I said, learning. You'll learn more from that than you will the rest of his 15 pro fights combined times 2. So yeah, he's in a good place, you know, Commonwealth champion. And
that's the main thing.
But I genuinely believe, like, that kid there, I can't remember his record. Was it like 13 wins? And sure. I don't know if he had 1 loss or no losses, but he had a few knockouts. Like he said, he'd been mixing on the amateur circuit with, you know, Lerone Richardson and Josh Boatsy, so it's not a bad win at all. Do you know what I mean? And then,
I think 17-10, I think 17-11, the other judge had it. Definitely wide, but most people had Lyndon nicking it. So
yeah, for me that was a bit wide. Maybe the 115, 112, pretty spot on. You know, I'm harsh on my friends. I'm harsh on myself. If a round's close, I've always been brought up that's against you. Do you know what I mean? Every close round is against you, because that way you know where you're at a bit more. If you get a couple of them close rounds, then happy days. And he did that.
Sonny, I'm sure you've been asked to death about this tonight. Your thoughts on last night with Paddy Barnes losing to Jay Harris?
Forget really Paddy Barnes. Massive congratulations to Jay Harris. He's a good friend of mine. I was speaking to him before the fight, speaking to him after the fight, been speaking to him today. And not only is he a great fighter, he's just such a lovely lad. He honestly, he's one of the nicest men you will ever meet in boxing. And I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart. He's a very, very nice kid. And he showed, you know.
It must be if you're being complimentary about him.
Oh, I know. Then again, Cody Davies on Twitter said I was the nicest lad, the classiest lad inside and outside the ring.
Oh, really? That's to spend much time around you then.
Unpopular opinion, yeah. I'm very unpopular opinion. Yeah, Paddy, like, as everyone said, everyone's known for years. He turned pro way too late, but he did good in the amateurs, so he went 3 Olympics. So what can I tell him? I'd like to see him, you know, maybe get looked after a bit and do some background work in boxing and still have a role, because I think he definitely still has a role.
So he should definitely retire?
I mean, I predicted Jay to beat him and to stop him. You can look at this, find it anywhere, because Jay's a very good fighter. Not just because Paddy's passed it, because Jay's a very good fighter. But the worrying thing for him is every single clean shot seemed to hurt him. And at that point, I think when your punch resistance isn't gone, because Paddy Barnes' style is someone that's going to have to take a lot of shots. You know what I mean? I don't think he's got too much more to
I think
give.
people would just know to go to the body as well with him.
It's not even that, because it was the headshots that was really hurting him. Like, his legs went a couple times. You know what I mean? And but yeah, he folds in half every time a body shot lands. Do you know what I mean? So, but like I said, by the by, Paddy's had a great boxing career, and I think he's done very well from boxing. You know, so. Like, generally, it's never been no, actual animosity where I don't like him as a person. I don't really know him as a person, but I've spent time in his company here and there, and then I think he's a good lad. I think he's a good laugh. I think he's a good family man, and I personally think it's now to the point of, I think he probably knows it himself as well. If you're getting beat that convincingly against Jay Harris, I'm not saying he's not a great fighter, but that convincingly, where else are you going to go? You can't come all. He's not young enough to come back all the way from
Move
the bottom
down a
and
weight,
rebuild.
possibly.
But I don't think he'll get there. I don't think he lived the life enough, and I know he don't live the life, to be honest. But yeah, it is disappointing for him, because like I said, for me as a boxer and for any other boxer, and I do genuinely mean this from the bottom of my heart. No, even though I'm cheeky and we sort of, I'll give people stick back and forth and whatnot. In order for you to do well as a boxer, you need a dancing partner. You need someone else that's doing well as well. Do you know what I mean? So, for me, that whole back and forth with Paddy Barnes, I wanted to build it into a fight where I got him at the same time as Rosales did, or that other kid did, or Harris did. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I wanted, because I knew the name that would help me elevate.
It's been a bit of a waste, really, all that back and forth, no?
Not really, because he didn't want to fight me. So that back and forth stopped ages ago. But when obviously he's doing an iFilm interview saying he hopes I never box again and no one wants to fight me and all that, then goes and loses. Obviously, I'm going to have something to say about that. Like, come on. But like I said, it's never been no animosity towards Paddy, because I generally don't think he's a bad lad at all. I think he's a very good character for boxing, and maybe get him in front of a camera, get him presenting something. I don't know.
Your fights?
Oh, that'd be funny. Can you imagine just a Paddy cam on every single one of my fights going forward, just slating me? But no, like, and I'm being real. Now I think his boxing career is over. Then why would I dislike? I don't dislike anyone in boxing, unless it's like a personal reason outside of actual boxing. Like, you can't put someone in front of me and me dislike them because I'm going to fight him.
Definitely wish him the best, whatever he does next.
Yeah, and like, do you know what? Like I said, he's a family man. He's got kids and he's got a wife, and I just hope that, take away all this, the sort of idiotry and then the back and forths and the little like digs and comments. I hope that he has fulfilled, to the best of his ability, everything he wanted to achieve in boxing. And obviously, turning pro, he wanted to be a world champion, but 2 bronze medals, being a sort of national hero. Look at the response he got, even after he got beat yesterday. Do you know what I mean? So. And
that tweet he put out was in good humour, to be fair.
Well, that's what I mean. He's a good lad. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, I know he's not my biggest fan, because I think he takes certain sides of boxing a bit more personally than I do or ever have. A lot of the shit I spout is just tongue in cheek. Do you know what I mean? I think people take it way too seriously a lot of the time. But like I said, it is what it is.
All right, Sonny. Good to catch up with you. Look forward to news on you. Obviously, we know Charlie's vacated and he's going to move up, so we'll see what happens with him. And what are you doing? Like, are you up with your missus? Or?
Yeah. Because we live in Sheffield. Do you know what I mean? I'm only from Sheffield, so and Lyndon, Zelfa, Josh, all good friends of mine. So of course I'm going to fly down, sit in the Frank Lucas seats, and then.
How did the friendship with you and Josh come about?
Do you know what? Just out of like boxing respect, I think.
I didn't even know about it, but I see him at your last fight, Josh coming into the changing room.
Yeah.
Want to take a picture with you.
He come down to watch me, and he wanted to come down last time, and he speaks and he messaged me all the time, and even after he boxed Barry, I was sat front row shouting for Josh the whole way through, and he messaged me a long message, nice message at 9 o'clock the next morning. And you can imagine the media, the message he's getting, and I didn't send nothing to him, and he went out of his way to like, I appreciate the support and the friendship and whatnot, and like I said, he returned the favour coming down for my fight, and he's just a good class lad. Do you know what I mean? And I think the proper, like, we'd always said hello in that, but the first proper conversation I think I had is after he beat Selby, really, and I just said, wow, I got that terribly wrong. Do you know what I mean? And you boxed a great
A lot of
fight.
people did.
Yeah, and he laughed, and I think he appreciated my honesty, to be honest. But he's a great fighter, and then he's one of them ones that have done it the hard way, come from the bottom. He weren't like headlining shows in his second and third fight. Do you know what I mean? And
he was just seen as a ticket seller, really.
Ticket seller, and a nice lad, and someone that could fight, but I don't think people realise how much he actually wants it. And I think that's the main thing in his success, is that he wants it more than the person opposite him.
Well, I think it comes through tonight. There's a big announcement coming, but yeah.
Oh, big announcement, big fight.
I don't think you'll be boxing in Leeds next.
Oh, so what's that? Santa Cruz or Gary Russell Jr. One of them?
Nope.
No.
He moved.
You made that so obvious.
I didn't say anything. It's not on camera.
Yeah,
but
you're on the other side of the
it's going to
camera.
go out tomorrow, so it'll probably
Yeah,
be announced
well-
anyway. All right, Sonny. Good man. And then we'll catch up soon, all right?